What's up guys, and welcome to the penultimate episode of the F1 2017 Road to Ferrari career mode. Here today for the Mexican and Brazilian Grand Prix. So this is round number 18 and 19 of Antonio Giovinazzi's pursuit of a Ferrari seat, I guess. So by the end of next episode, we will know whether Giovinazzi has been offered that seat at Ferrari. But without further ado, it is time to get into the Mexican Grand Prix. So, yeah, like I say, just 3 rounds to go, and as you can see, we've got Ferrari leading the Constructors' standings, and I believe Lewis Hamilton leading the Drivers' Championship at the moment, but it was Sebastian Vettel who put it on pole just ahead of Hamilton in what was some more wet conditions in Mexico. Pretty much since we've left Europe, we've just had wet conditions throughout. There you can see it's an all-Haas 5th row, but Grosjean did out-qualify Giovinazzi once again. So, yeah, there you can see Esteban Ocon incurring a penalty. I believe he qualified ahead of both of the Haas drivers. But now it is time to get on to the formation lap. And as you can see there, the qualifying is now tied at 9-all. With Grosjean also just about out-racing Giovinazzi. But the points are what matters. And Giovinazzi is ahead reasonably significantly. 10 points is still quite a lot, and yeah, as expected, it's a one-stopper for this 25% race. The Ultras onto the Supers, but now it is time to get into the start of the Mexican Grand Prix, and away we go here in Mexico City. It's a very poor start for Giovinazzi, a good one for Grosjean, who's taking a look at Ricciardo already, and also a very good one for Hülkenberg, and it's a long drag now down into turn 1, and Felipe Massa has already got past Giovinazzi. Obviously Massa with that Mercedes engine, and a big lock up there into turn 1, and Grosjean gets out of shape and almost blocks Giovinazzi, and that allows Carlos Sainz to also get past, so he is up to P11. And it's been a poor start for Giovinazzi, who's gone down 2 places to P12. And is he going to now take a look at the end of the first sector to go down the inside of Carlos Sainz? It would be a bold move, but he doesn't manage to do so. And now he is sandwiched between the 2 Toro Rosso drivers. Sainz ahead, Kvyat behind. So, yeah, as you can see, going through that double hairpin almost, he couldn't quite get close enough to Sainz. But now at the end of lap 1, and start of lap 2, he goes up into Rich Mix, and he's closing on Sainz, who recovers some kinetic energy, and that just means that Giovinazzi is able to breeze past up into P11. Of course, Carlos Sainz running the Renault engine in the back of that Toro Rosso, and the Ferrari one has been developed better throughout the course of the season. So now Giovinazzi is in pursuit of Romain Grosjean, but we have to go now on to P5 to see him really close up significantly. And as you can see, we've got Felipe Massa occupying P9, but Giovinazzi does have the DRS. Unfortunately, Grosjean does as well, so he really can't close up too much. He does go for the dive down the inside, but it was never really going to work. Also, Carlos Sainz being pulled along here. So I think Felipe Massa is really the cork in the bottle at the moment in P9. Of course, he just got a great start, you know, up from P11 to P9. Which is pretty much where he has found that position from, although he probably doesn't have the pace over the Haas's. So now onto a lap later, onto lap 6, and once again they are on to the DRS. I believe Grosjean once again has the drag reduction system active, but Giovinazzi a little bit closer this time, and Grosjean does lock up, but unfortunately Giovinazzi just couldn't quite get enough. Well, he just couldn't get close enough, basically, but he goes for the lunge down the inside into the hairpin, and, well, Grosjean's really getting out of shape, possibly suffering from some tyre wear, although they did have a brand new set of Ultrasofts on the car at the start of the race, because as I mentioned, it was a wet qualifying, but now Grosjean is a long way behind Felipe Massa, so it's going to be interesting to see whether Giovinazzi can close further up on his teammate, because of course Grosjean now will not have the aid of DRS. He's lost over 1.5 seconds in that middle sector, you know, compared to the last lap. So we're really proving that Grosjean is getting out of shape in this stage of the Grand Prix. So end of lap 6, and Giovinazzi thought about possibly coming into the pits to go for the undercut, but he is going to give it a go under DRS, although Grosjean got a fantastic exit of that off that last corner using the deployment of the ERS to good effect. But now Giovinazzi closing and closing. It's such a long straight. Grosjean moved to the inside before then going back to the racing line. So making the one move that he is legally able to do. But now onto the second DRS zone. This is where Giovinazzi has really been getting close. As you saw there, a little bit of a yellow flag behind him. Stoffel Van Dorn's out of the race, but Giovinazzi is now going to dive it down the inside of Grosjean, a little bit closer this time. But just as we thought that he was going to make the move, the virtual safety car has been deployed. So, well, that is really poo-pooed that move. But nonetheless, coming towards the end of the virtual safety car now, it almost comes in exactly the right place for Grosjean, because it comes in the middle of the hairpin and allows him to get a little bit of a nice lead. So Giovinazzi now, is he going to come into the pits? No, he isn't. Once again, you're just toying with the fact that he may come into the pit lane. But one more lap, that is enough for Giovinazzi to be able to come into the pit lane now. So 10 laps on the super soft tyres as he gets a little bit out of shape. I don't think the tyres are too warm, but it's just so difficult to get traction out of the old Tamburella turn. So yeah, into the pit lane at the end of lap 8 from P11 at the moment. So now going onto the super soft tyres. The light you can see there went green, but then went back red straight away. So that is Daniel Kvyat who has jumped Giovinazzi in the pits. And I believe what happened was that he didn't actually have his foot on the accelerator, meaning that obviously he couldn't be released. So it was only a very short window, and that is awful for Giovinazzi. He's surely going to have no chance of jumping his teammate in the pit stage now. And the man that was 2 places behind him, Daniel Kvyat, has jumped considerably ahead of him. So yeah, this race has turned completely on its head. But now you can see in the pits, looking in the bottom left corner, you can see that yellow dot, which is Romain Grosjean. And well, I just don't know what has been happening in this pit phase, because Giovinazzi's back out ahead of Sainz and his teammates, but Lance Stroll, who was absolutely nowhere in this Grand Prix, has emerged ahead of him. Fortunately, Giovinazzi has managed to navigate past, but now the Williams car is going to try and give it a go, I think, into the next corner at the end of Sector 1, but no, Giovinazzi does just manage to hold position. But yeah, very, very strange. He's jumped ahead of the likes of Grosjean and Sainz. He's stayed ahead of Sainz. But Kvyat has just come out of nowhere to overtake the lot of them. So very, very bizarre pit phase. And there you can see that Fernando Alonso, that's the person I was looking for, he peeled into the pit lane, leaving Giovinazzi in P12. And we are now on lap 15, so just 4 laps to go in this Grand Prix. And Esteban Ocon has also managed to put himself into a great position. Obviously, he started in P18, so he must have pitted at just the right time. And sure enough, he is in P11 ahead of Giovinazzi, but his tyres are rapidly wearing out. And surely Giovinazzi now is going to make a move on the Force India driver, who moves to the inside. And, well, he's have to go completely to the inside of the track, but he does make the move on Esteban Ocon up into P11. Goes a little bit wide there, but very, very racy from Ocon. And I think ever since the patch, the AI just seem a little bit better. So that is very, very good to see. But nonetheless, we've got just over a lap to go in this Mexican Grand Prix. And Giovinazzi now stuck behind Daniel Kvyat. So we are on to lap 18, the final lap. And you can see in the pit lane is Lewis Hamilton. So he has come into some troubles. Possibly a tyre failure, which already promotes Giovinazzi into a points-paying position. And now he's going to try and get ahead of Kvyat into the next turn. And is he going to be able to do it up into P9? I think he is. Yes, he has. Lovely, lovely move there on the Russian driver. And he's also going to get DRS into this next zone. So in what looked like was going to be a difficult race to score any points, in the space of about 1 straight, Giovinazzi has gone from P11 to P9. Unfortunately, Massa was just a little bit too far away. I think if he'd timed the pit stops well, he would have been able to get ahead of him. But as we go through the stadium section for the final time, looking wonderful as ever. Giovinazzi comes through the Tamburella, the final corner, to take P9. 2 points for the Haas team. Not a double points scoring race this afternoon, but still some more points in the bag for the Italian, and he will be very, very happy with that. So as you can see, Max Verstappen takes the race win here in Mexico. An incredible drive from the Red Bull man, and there you can see Giovinazzi taking P9. And I believe what happened, in fact, with the front runners was that they all incurred drive-through penalties for speeding under the virtual safety car. So Bottas, Raikkonen, Vettel and Hamilton all had penalties in the race director at the end, which was pretty interesting. So yeah, Bottas and Raikkonen did manage to make it onto the podium, and that is very big for Kimi Raikkonen, because of course his championship rival didn't even score any points. So there you can see Verstappen, Bottas and Raikkonen on the podium. Vettel down in P7 as a result of that drive-through, which promoted Perez and Hülkenberg up to P5 and P6. So that is fantastic for them, with Daniel Kvyat, of course, getting the final points position. A good drive from Ocon, but he could only manage 11th place. And there you can see Lewis Hamilton all the way down in 15th, and also a poor race from Grosjean. After starting from P9, just didn't seem to have any pace whatsoever. But yeah, not a great race for Haas, but of course Giovinazzi did salvage it in the end. And there you can see justification of what I've just said. Raikkonen's 15 points take him into the lead by 12 points over Hamilton, so he could win the championship in the next race at Brazil. And then you've got Bottas and Vettel rounding out the top 4, with Ricciardo and Sergio Perez still holding there in P6, but Verstappen's win has brought him a little bit closer. Pretty much set in stone now that Haas will take P5 unless there is a big change of fortune, if Force India just completely mess up and Williams have an incredible race. But yeah, that is pretty much tied up. Also, Ferrari take the lead over Mercedes, or keep the lead over Mercedes in the constructors standings. There you can see a little comparison. Do make sure to pause it if you do want to see it. But now it is time for the Brazilian Grand Prix and part 2 of this double header. Fortunately, we do have a dry race, and it was a wet qualifying, however. So yeah, that pretty much consolidates what I said last time out. And here is the starting grid. So it was a Mercedes 1-2 at the top, with Bottas ahead of Hamilton, who of course has a title to fight for, and he is just ahead of his championship rival Kimi Raikkonen, with Ricciardo, Perez and Verstappen rounding out the top 6. And as you can see, Sebastian Vettel starting in P11, but ahead of Giovinazzi, with Grosjean, I believe, starting in 18th place. You can see there he also incurred a penalty, I assume related to the engine parts. So yeah, getting now into the formation lap, you can see Grosjean actually did out-qualify Giovinazzi without, obviously, not taking into account the penalty. So that's another one to him in qualifying. So it's 10-9, and I believe that's only the second time this season that Grosjean has actually, you know, taken the lead in terms of qualifying. It is, of course, a one-stop once again from the super softs to the soft tyres. Don't think any drivers will be opting for the 2-stop this afternoon, but now it is time to get in to the Brazilian Grand Prix, the penultimate race of the season, going to 5 red lights, and away we go here in Brazil. A very good start, you can see, for Giovinazzi in comparison to Hülkenberg. He already passes him. Alonso was in the top 10. He manages to get past him. Also Vettel and Sainz. That has got to be the greatest start that he's made all season, although Sainz does just about get him through the Senna S. And there you can see Vettel must have been squeezed out into turn 1, but now Giovinazzi should have the engine power over Sainz to get him into the Sena de Largo corner, and sure enough he does, up into P8. A brilliant move there from Giovinazzi, and what a start from P12 up to P8. We've got to take a look at the replay of that one. You can see up front it was a good start for Raikkonen, but further back you can just see that yeah, Vettel actually got squeezed out by Fernando Alonso, which just allowed Giovinazzi down the inside. And well, brilliant start. So yeah, just behind Sainz for the meantime, but you can see going towards the end of the straight, as you see further up ahead, Giovinazzi just goes down the inside, and pretty good start, it has to be said, just squeezing him out, Sainz, on the exit. But now coming towards the end of lap 3, he is still, he's just struggling for pace. Obviously, he probably isn't in that P8 completely on merit. It's, well, pretty much come down to the start. But nonetheless, he's got to take what he's been given, and now you can see Sebastian Vettel behind him. Is he going to make a move into the first corner at the start of lap 4? Of course, DRS is now active, and that was a very, very easy move for the 4-times world champion. So Giovinazzi, that's what he's, well, hopefully going to be working with next season if Ferrari do offer him the contract. But, well, that was very, very easy for Vettel. And yeah, it's pretty much been seen that this Haas car in the last few races just hasn't quite been on the pace. But nonetheless, he is still in P9, holding a points-paying position. And at the end of lap 7, he's actually decided to come into the pit lane. So going very, very quickly through that little S section on the run into the pits. But he does manage to slow it down in time, and now coming into the pit lane for his one and only stop of the afternoon. It shouldn't be an issue that he is going a lap extra on these soft tyres, because yeah, the tyre degradation is reasonably low. But still, he's going to have to try and stay ahead of Nico Hülkenberg, who was in fact pressurising him towards the end of that first stint. But yeah, the super soft just really weren't quite working, so he decided to come in a lap early, and hopefully that will pay dividends. So yeah, he's out in P20. I don't believe anyone else pitted there, but now we will really get a good idea of where Giovinazzi is going to sit in the field. He locks up into turn 1 and goes pretty wide, but he should be able to emerge in his original position. Took that center S very, very poorly though, so it is going to be tight between himself and Hülkenberg. There are yellow flags on the exit. But who is that for? That is for Lewis Hamilton. No, for the second time this afternoon, he's run into issues, and surely that is the championship over. If Kimi Räikkönen can hold his position, he will be taking the Drivers' Championship, and that is rotten luck for Lewis Hamilton. So now going on to lap 10, we reach the halfway stage of this Grand Prix, and Giovinazzi looking as if he's actually going to emerge in P8. So of course he was in P9 before, but of course with the retirement, or at least significant slowing down of Lewis Hamilton, it is going to be P8. So there's yellow flags once again, and believe it or not, that is still Lewis Hamilton trying to crawl back down to the pits. So awful, awful luck for him. There is going to be no title showdown in Abu Dhabi, and it's turned into almost as much of an anticlimax as the real life season. So now going on to lap 14, you can see Nico Hülkenberg is very much keeping pace with Giovinazzi, only about half a second behind. But you know, with the engine difference in the back of the cars, it was just very, very difficult for Hülkenberg to actually get close enough to even make a move. But now on to lap 15. And I think now he is close enough to at least make a move down the inside, but no, he thinks better of it, and just doesn't have the closing speed with that Renault engine. So Giovinazzi can very much thank that. And yeah, on the pit straight, Hülkenberg really wasn't getting close enough to even make a move. And onto lap 16, you can see that's once again the case, but this time Giovinazzi goes wide through the center S, and I think this is going to be the best opportunity for Hülkenberg to make a move for P8, and they get onto the DRS. Is Hülkenberg going to make a dive down the inside? It looks like he is. For the first time he's made a move. This time it looks as if it's worked. Giovinazzi tries to get the switchback to work, but it doesn't work at all. So we're just going to stay on board now with Giovinazzi towards the end of lap 16 and through the rest of the middle sector, because I don't believe we've really seen the middle sector through the course of the race. So now we'll be able to see whether Giovinazzi is going to close up to Hülkenberg, or whether the German is going to take this P8 in the Brazilian Grand Prix. So now braking towards the second hairpin of this middle sector, which then flows out towards the end of the second sector with this very fast left-hander. So now they're going to break down into third gear, I believe. Yes, he does go down to third to just try and get the turn in. And Hülkenberg, though, looks as if he's just about got the traction on the exit. He is obviously harvesting energy as they go towards the pit straight. So Giovinazzi has the DRS, none for Hülkenberg. Is Giovinazzi going to be able to get close enough to make a move? I don't think he is. No, he thinks better of it. And he's probably going to try to make a move now into the second DRS zone. But you can see Hülkenberg throughout the course of the race has just been better in the Senna S. Obviously, the better chassis and better aerodynamics of the Renault car mean that is the case. So as they brake now towards the end of the first sector, well, that was just it. Of course, Giovinazzi's tyres a lap older as well, which meant that they were just sort of going off towards the end. Hence the fact that why Carlos Sainz was in fact so close coming to the flag now, and it looks as if Giovinazzi is just going to take P9 in this Grand Prix. So a pretty disappointing end to proceedings. You can see rain in fact falling, and he didn't manage to get ahead of Hülkenberg, but still another 2 points in the bag, and it was Kimi Räikkönen's afternoon. He takes the Drivers' Championship, and after Lewis Hamilton's disappointing retirement, the world title is heading to Maranello, and for the second time it's got Kimi Raikkonen's name on it. Very different to the real life season, but there you can see our race winner Kimi Raikkonen as well. So yeah, 37 points ahead of Hamilton now at the end of the championship, with Valtteri Bottas taking P2 and I believe leapfrogging his teammate in the standings, with Sebastian Vettel making up the end of the podium. Grosjean, no points for him once again, P12 for him this afternoon. So entire episode without points for Grosjean, with 4 for Giovinazzi. And yeah, going on to the bottom half of the order, Hamilton did finish the race, but it was a lap down. And I'm not quite sure what the issue was. It may have been a puncture, but I'm not too sure. But yeah, rotten luck for Hamilton in both races this afternoon. And yeah, Carlos Sainz made up the final points position. And yeah, after a good grid position, no points for Alonso. But there you can see the drivers' standings. And the Valtteri Bottas actually only 25 points behind Raikkonen. But with Raikkonen taking more victories, it means that Bottas is he can't win the World Drivers' title. Giovinazzi holds P8, and it looks as if it's pretty much going to be that, bar a disaster in Abu Dhabi. And yeah, that pretty much secures P5 in the championship for Haas as well. So not a bad season whatsoever. Only Sauber are yet to score, and a 27-point lead for Ferrari means they've pretty much wrapped up the constructors' standings, barring a nightmare in Abu Dhabi as well. But there you can see the comparison between Grosjean and Giovinazzi before we go into the final race in Abu Dhabi. I hope you guys have enjoyed today's race. Do make sure to leave a like down below, and I'll catch you for the finale tomorrow. Bye bye.